So, I have something very exciting to announce right here on the Evoke project, because I am sitting here with an absolute legend in the magic and mentalism community, a very good friend of mine, and somebody who is so respected. And there's an interesting story as to why I'm sitting here with him. But I want to introduce him first, the one and only.
Can we just lower expectations from that? I can't live up to that.
No.
Legend, really. Old is what I am. Old.
No, I have I've had so much respect for you, and literally anybody in the world, if you ask them, who should you speak to about cold reading? Who should you speak to about making magic meaningful? The name that comes up over and over again, because of the amount of work that you've done with this subject and how vocal you've been about it over the years, is you.
You're very kind. What he means when he says that we're good friends is we get drunk at conventions together. That's basically what he means.
That's the kind of friends, really.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But this part of the tutorial is happening very late in the day. As we film this, the trailer is dropping in about a week's time.
About a week.
And the reason that this has been added so late into the project, it's a very interesting story. I had the finished trailer, and I was showing it to a few good friends, and one of the people that I reached out to was Ian. And I said to Ian, I'd love you to have a look at this trailer. If you want to give me a quote, that would be fantastic. And you came back to me and you went, well, I don't really give quotes. I don't really get involved with a lot of dealer items. It's not something that I'm really do. And I said, well, let me just show you the trailer and then get back to me. So I sent the trailer over to you.
Loved it. Yeah.
You loved it. And the thing that you said, you came back to me and you said, I only regret you didn't reach out to me 6 months ago. I've got ideas that I'd like to share. And I said, are you serious?
Absolutely.
And you said, yeah. So I then rang the Murphys and I said, guys, we've got Ian Rowland here who wants to be a part of this project. If there's ever been a better time to use the phrase stop the presses, it's right now. And they greenlit having you on the project. And I couldn't be more
3 days to go.
Yes.
We've had 3 days to put this together.
This whole thing has been put together in 3 days. How Murphy's managed to get you a deck so quick?
2 days.
I have no idea. I haven't even seen these. You saw these before me.
And they're beautiful. They're just beautiful. Yeah. It's gorgeous.
So, first of all, a heartfelt thank you for jumping in.
No, you're welcome.
And literally at the last minute, putting some incredible content together.
We do have some fun ideas to share.
Yeah.
We went through them last night, didn't we, on Zoom? There's some good stuff.
Oh, there is.
Fun ideas.
Yeah, some amazing stuff. Ian was sharing some of the ideas with me on Zoom, and I was thinking, this is actually probably my favorite thing on the whole project.
But they're fun ideas. I don't know whether people will use them or I'm not the genius ideas, but they're interesting, some of them. They're fun to do, fun to play with. So we've got some good ideas to share.
Before we talk about those ideas, I alluded to this earlier on. You don't normally get involved in a lot of dealer items. A lot of the new stuff that comes out these days is something that you're not really involved with. So what made you want to jump onto the Evoke project?
Well, just to clarify that, it's not as if I've got anything against dealers and dealer items. It's great. I think it's a golden era for magic dealers, putting out so much great stuff. Even you sometimes put out some good stuff. Even you.
I mess up sometimes. Occasionally some good stuff comes out.
And Murphy's put out some great stuff. And there's other, I'm not going to name them because this is about Murphy's product and your product, but there's other good dealers around. And I'm very old school. I'm grey, I'm old, I'm a dinosaur. I don't have a lot to do with what's around these days, but it's good stuff. I've got nothing against dealers, nothing against dealer items. I think they should be supported. I just personally don't use a lot, and I'm very old school. It's if hypothetically I've got to do a gig tonight, if I can find a stationery store, 2 books and a deck of cards, I'm set. I'm that old school.
Yeah.
But this, when you shared this with me and what it is, and I mean it's beautifully made, it's been produced to a high standard, and you can make magic meaningful, which has been a big, I did a whole lecture about this at the Circle a few years ago. It's one of the reasons I gravitated towards mentalism and using tarot cards and all sorts of other stuff that I get away from regular decks. I just love stuff that connects with people and that people can connect with. And it's so important to me. Of course, I've been talking about this for years and nobody's paid any attention, nor would I expect them to, and that's fine. But it's so important. And this deck, this wonderful Evoke deck, this beautiful deck, enables you to do nice magic that you'll enjoy doing, they'll enjoy doing, but it's meaningful and it resonates with people. I just love it. And the fact that it's been well produced is important as well.
Absolutely. And, you know, you've done lectures at places. We're at the Magic Circle headquarters right now filming this, and you've obviously lectured all over the world. Yeah, we kind of broke in, but hopefully Marvin won't know. But you've lectured all over the world talking about making magic meaningful, and I know it's probably something that you can talk about for hours.
Well, here's the point. Here's the point. If you go to any of your friends and say, name your favorite movie, they'll talk about their favorite movie.
Yeah.
Talk about your favorite song or album. Everybody can rattle off their favorite songs or albums. You can, your friends do.
Absolutely.
And then you say to them, and what's your favorite magic trick? I'm talking about lay people, not us, like normal people. And very, very few could even tell you about them. What's the big difference? Songs mean things to people. They associate songs with certain periods in their life, when they were really up, when they were down, when they were in love, or just that. They associate movies with great emotion. That fantastic scene where he does that. And it evokes reactions in people. And I love the magic. You know how much I love this community.
Yeah.
And I'm passionate about my friends all over the world in magic. The magic community means a lot to me. Magic means a lot to me. The only way in which we let ourselves down, I think, is that a lot of magic doesn't really have there's no takeaway from it. There's no magic, and there's no, it lacks meaning, it lacks emotional resonance. And I think that's the only way in which we sometimes maybe let ourselves down a little bit. And this, I think, is this beautifully produced deck, which I have no interest in, no financial interest, nothing, I think is a step in the right direction, basically.
Well, Javier, in the trailer for this project, I think he summed it up perfectly. He showed some playing cards and he said, 7 of diamonds, six of spades. They don't really mean anything to your audience, but when's the last time you thought about love or hate, or you're anxious about something? That's the perfect example. I mean, if you can take something that you do with a pack of cards and do it with something like this, instantly people are going to be more invested in what you're doing and saying.
Absolutely.
You know, you talk about making magic meaningful. That's one of the reasons why you have spent so much time thinking about cold reading and so much time working with tarot decks, because it allows you to...
And having fun with it.
Yeah.
I know I'm not particularly well known for close-up magic, but I have done a lot of close-up magic all over the world. And I love card magic. I do regular deck of cards, fine. Your card was, ta-da, the 3 of hearts. I've done all that. And it's great. I'm not as good as you and many of the other people, but I like it. But when you're using something like this is what I teach a lot of my students to use. This is a slimmed down tarot deck. So normal tarot deck is 78 cards, and it's like a brick. This is just the major arcana plus the 4 aces of the various, 4 queens of the various, the 4 suits. Much easier to carry around, much more portable. And you can do lots and lots of great magic with these, but they mean things to people and they're intriguing. People can relate to them.
And it allows you to talk about each one of these things.
Yeah.
And people find it interesting. Everyone's heard of tarot, but they don't necessarily know what they are or what they mean, and they have common misconceptions about what the death card is. But
and they ask about them all the time. They'll say, "Oh, and what does that one mean?" And they want to know. You don't get this reaction from showing people the 7 of diamonds.
No.
Plus, you get a choice. This is a beautiful. There's so many different decks. This is the medieval Scapini deck. Look at the artwork on this.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I mean, you cannot tell me that people are going to find this less intriguing than, the six of clubs. It's just, so I use these a lot as well. I use the regular Rider-Waite. And whilst we're here, just because you would not let me get away with that, Bench.
You have to show people this.
This is the cat tarot. This is a real thing. It's not a prank. You can actually buy this. It's beautiful artwork. You get the book. And it's a complete tarot deck. As I say, a full tarot deck, kind of a brick. But it's a full tarot deck. And it's cat themed. So we'll get some close-ups, I'm sure. But, what do you think the hermit is?
No idea.
It's a cat in a little paper bag. The tower is a cat tree. Cat.
That's brilliant.
The devil.
No idea.
A dog. And the best one, there's 78 cards worth of this.
This is
the best
great.
one What's the death card?
A skeleton cat, maybe?
It's a Hoover. Magically. The cat tarot. Credit to my friend Ray and Bowie, one of the finest cold readers I know in the States, for alerting me to the fact that this is actually a thing. Anyway, I've been talking about magic with tarot cards for years. I use double blank cards because you can write anything on. I mean, there's so many alternatives to normal cards. I'm not knocking close-up magic done with normal cards. Yeah, I do it, you do it. It's beautifully done. I'm just saying there are alternatives, and if people would just explore this, you don't need to know how to give readings to use these beautiful cards. They are gorgeous, and people are intrigued and fascinated by them. So that's all I'm saying. I like to go down this alley and say, can I find a way to make it more emotionally resonant and more meaningful? That's all.
Yeah, and obviously, is that why you instantly gravitated towards the Evoke deck?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of a similar thing to a tarot deck in many ways, but also different.
I'll tell you what, it's a secular tarot deck. It's what it is. And plus, of course, there's so much deceptive technology built into this. You and Phil Smith, I mean, it's incredible. Today, I personally am not going to be focused too much on all the stuff you've built into this, but it is amazing.
Yeah.
And do you remember when you were taking me through it step by step? And there's this in it. And there's this. Oh, and it also, I couldn't believe it.
I remember you getting your Evoke deck and then say, before we do anything, how are these marked?
Yeah. I'd only spent 3 hours that morning studying them with my brilliant master brain, trying to figure out the market. I hadn't a clue. And then you explained it to me, and I was quite angry, actually. Only angry how stupid I can be. But it's incredible. But we do have some nice ideas to share as well.
We do. And obviously, you're known for cold reading. And would you say that the applications that you have for cold reading with tarot decks, for example, are transferable to an Evoke deck?
To a large extent. It just gives you that springboard, and it gets you into the two wonderful realms of cold reading. One is the wonderful world of non-falsifiable statements, things you can say to people that can never be true, but really like those. And also into the essence of cold reading, which is in a normal conversation, I say something to you and I'm providing the meaning. Cold reading, I provide the words, you put the meaning onto them. So that's kind of the essence of it. There you go. That's a weekend's course in cold reading in 10 seconds.
There you go.
So it's extra value for money already. I don't think you'd be an expert.
I'm excited.
And you can do similar things with this. Also they're nicely made and they handle well, and the pictures are good. It's just, I'm going to shock you now.
Okay.
Now and again, sorry to break it to you, people have a good idea in the magic world and they bring a product out and the quality's not actually that good. You're dumbfounded.
No, I've never seen that.
Before.
Never.
No examples of this.
No.
But it does happen. But when you told me about these, I waited till I was actually handling them and they were sent to me. They're beautifully made. Everything, the quotations, the photos, the choice to go landscape, of course, the deceptive technology and the markings and all the rest of it. Just beautifully done. And they handle nicely like proper cards. And I just think it's a great step in the right direction. I really do.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Ian. So before we start actually delving into the various ideas that you're going to share with the Evoke deck, I know that you said to me over Zoom last night, it was really important that before we started, there were a couple of things that you wanted to mention that you felt that were very important for people who are ultimately going to be taking these out and using them.
Important ideas, yeah, but also that just make them much more fun to use. Mm-hmm. The first is, again, this is a principle from tarot. It's not, you should try not to make it so much about what you know as what you feel.
Okay.
So let's just start over here in the world of tarot. If I'm going to say something to you like, career-wise, things have been a little bit difficult for you in the recent chapter of your life, but there's new hope coming, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to exaggerate this just to make the point, but you'll get it. There are people who give readings who should know better, who would say something like, career-wise, things have been quite difficult for you lately, but there's indications here of a new upturn and grounds for optimism.
Mm-hmm.
You're not feeling anything. If you're, as the person giving the reading, if you, obviously we're acting, we're pretending, but if you feel something and they can, the client, the person you're giving the reading to, can see that you're talking about feelings and emotions, you're instantly 1,000% better. Again, I'm exaggerating for the sake of making the point, but it's something like, career-wise, you're so ambitious. You know you're capable, but there's been things kind of constraining you recently, haven't they? And not allowing you to flourish. And I can sense the frustration that you've been through. Okay, and also not being given the credit that you're due. With all due modesty aside, you felt this recently, haven't you? Yeah. But the message I'm getting here that the cards want me to talk to you about has to do with a new upturn, a new dawn. I don't want to get too poetic, but generally an opportunity, if you take it, to achieve so much more and get the fulfillment you want. Now, more feeling, more emotion. It's about what I feel, not what I know. So when you get to a point where you know a spectator's looking at the outrage card, of course you can say, ta-da, I think you're thinking of outrage. You can write it on your mental scribble pad. Was it outrage? You can do that. Or you can feel it. So, and just focus on that emotion for me. Okay, you're quite a big guy. So when you feel this emotion, it's intensity, it's strength, I can feel the heat. It's anger, but it's more than anger, isn't it? I can feel the stress of it. This is kind of something outrageous. I protest, outrage. Is that where we're going?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's about what you feel, not what you know.
Yes.
The second bit, golden principle of cold reading. The client or the spectator, the person you're working with, the participant is the star, not me. And this, I teach lots of people cold reading, and if they're a normal person, the whole lay person, it's fine. When the people coming from a magic and mentalism background, they're starting from one step further back because they want to be the ta-da moment star.
Yeah.
They want to go, and you were thinking of temperance. Ta-da! Mm-hmm. No. It's not about what you can do. It's about the client.
Yeah.
So, it's not what you know, it's what you feel. And make the client or the participant the star. That's where you've got to go with this, I think.
That's fantastic advice, not just for these cards, but just in general, to be perfectly honest.
Well, yeah.
That's wonderful. Now, like you said, you have got a number of different ideas in the very short time that you've been playing with these.
So we talked it through. We come up with half a dozen things that I think are fun to share.
Way more than fun. There's one particular thing that I'm going to be doing like immediately. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know, because I saw the way to see your eyes light up on a Zoom call. It's kind of strange. Okay, it's just an idea. It's like, no,
Yeah, that one.
You were reaching out through the screen.
I don't want to do that one immediately. Yeah, well, let's go into it. Let's have a look at the first kind of fun thing that we want to share. So, Ian, share with me the first concept that you want to talk through. I'm
normal person from where?
I'm so excited. Yes, I can be a normal person.
Hi, Craig, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, nice to meet you. We're going to be using these today. As you can see, there are some beautiful cards that represent different emotions and feelings. Listen, have a look through them. There's some inspirational quotes, there's some lovely pictures, but also mix them up as much as you like, any way that you want. You can do it like card dealers do. You can just mix them up in your hands, sort of like this. Honestly, whatever you want to do. And do take a look at some of the pictures and some of the emotions and see if any of them resonate with you. And I want you to see that they are all different because the human heart and soul knows many different feelings. But make sure they're in a completely mixed up and you can cut and shuffle. I really don't care.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Okay. Now, when you were going through these, first of all, they were probably not like anything you've seen before.
No, not at all.
Did any of I'm not going to ask you for details, but did any of these like resonate more with you than others?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can relate to some of them a bit more.
Yeah, I can.
And also, I asked you to sort of give them a good mix and everything, and you were really going for it. I mean, some people just like cut it down. That's it. But with you, it was like, oh, I'm going to really shuffle it. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'm going to look away. Just whatever's on top now. Just have a look at that one. I don't want to see. I don't want to look.
Okay.
And kind of absorb that feeling or think back to a time in your life, it can be recently or a long time ago, when you might have associated with this particular feeling or emotion.
Yep.
Have you got that?
I have.
Okay, I don't want to see anything. Just turn your face down, put it back in move the cards away. It's nothing to do with that. So you had a look through, you mixed them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask you to do something that might feel a bit strange. I want you to send that feeling to me telepathically. Don't say anything. Now, you might not believe in all this stuff, and that's fine. I'm very rational as well. Do this. Invite your mind to feel what it would be like if this really worked.
Okay.
Invite your mind to imagine or pretend what it would feel like if you could really do this.
Mm-hmm.
This is positive, isn't it? Kind of delightful.
Yeah.
And if I go back, even as recently as the last 2 to 3 weeks of your life, you had a moment where at least one moment when you experienced this, didn't you?
Yeah.
In connection with your family.
Yeah.
Yes. As a youngster. But not just them. No, it was the experience. Yes. The experience of being a family man and what you've created with your partner and the family. And a specific event was happening, wasn't it? And yes. Okay. And it's working. It's delight and it's happiness, but it's more specific than that. It's a little bit more intense than that, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah.
I'm getting thrown off because I keep getting the number 1, but it's not that, because I'm hearing it sometimes. You're thinking of wonder.
Yes.
Yes? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Great things happen when you imagine and feel things, and you sent that to me very well. I've not had it work that well with many people. Congratulations. Well done. You really have a talent for this.
Wow. I have to say 2 things. First of all, none of this has been set up, and that's the first time I've seen this. First of all, how you revealed that particular emotion, that just showcases everything that you were talking about before. That is so much more like, I genuinely, you were describing like that happened. Like I experienced this a couple of weeks ago with my family at a particular event. It was Ryland, he was before. Like, that was incredible. That is so much more powerful than you're thinking of wonder, because you weren't describing the emotion. You were describing something in my life.
Describing a card.
No.
Describing an experience.
Yeah, that was amazing. And also, you weren't looking at the marks. You were turned away the entire time. There's no way you could have known. So, that's great.
Unfortunately, to achieve this effect requires extremely expensive, high technology tools, which not many people will have access to or be able to afford, but we'll go through it anyway.
Okay.
And here they are.
A push pin.
A push pin. So, choose a card you want to force. In this case, it's Wonder. And I'm going to put pinpricks on the corners of this card. Put the card on the table. Dot. Now, little pro tip. Do a little triangle of dots. Dot, dot, dot. Dot, dot, dot. We'll do a cutaway or an insert to show that.
Okay.
I'm left-handed. I'm cack-handed. So for me, handling a face-down card, I'm feeling for the bumps here and here. For most of you, it'll be here and here. So push pin, little triangle of dots, dot, 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 dot. So now, without looking at the card, I can always tell when this is here. Now, so Spectator has a look at...
And is that why you do half the deck, so that you don't have to go through...
It's just more practical to do this with about 12, 14, 15 cards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it makes the handling a lot easier. So they're genuinely... This is all more or less test conditions, because you can examine them, you can talk about them, you can mix them up. I take them back, and these are now utterly unimportant. All I'm doing is talking to you about the fact that you had a look at them, did some resonate more with you, etc., etc. And all you see me doing is just kind of idly playing with these.
But because you were talking directly to me, I wasn't even looking down there.
And all the time, my finger here is doing all the work, trying to find these bumps. Now, if you've never used pinpricks before, they scream to your fingers. They don't just announce themselves, they scream. In fact, I know I'm the wrong-handedness for you, but if you just experience that yourself.
Oh yeah, you can tell a mile off.
It's literally like somebody saying, I'm here!
Yeah, it's like it's so obvious.
Yeah. So as soon as I get to that card, I can then either very easily move it to the bottom, or depending where it is, very easily move it to the top. Either way will do. And as I say, I'm talking to you. I'm not paying any attention to them. I'm obviously not looking at the backs. That's crucial for the tiny percentage of laymen who think, oh, marked cards. No, I'm looking at you, and we're having a proper conversation about the fact that you've looked at the pictures, some of them resonated with you, etc., but you shuffled them thoroughly. You have no idea what order they're in. And now I can turn away and say, why don't you just pick up the stack and look at whatever's on the bottom? And in this case, it would be the Wonder card.
Yep.
When we did the performance, it was easier to move it to the top, so I just look at the top one. And then, once you've done that, it can just go back in the middle. They can be taken out of sight.
And you paid no attention to those at all. It was never about these.
No.
It was,
and the amount of work I've got out of this box of pins, which I purchased about 10 years ago. How do the people who make these things ever stay in business? Because once you've got these, anyway, there's the technology. And I'll share one embarrassing thing with you. I've been in mentalism for a long time. Look, the top of my head is not dyed. I'm grey-haired. I'm old. I'm an old dinosaur. I'm an old fossil in the magic world. But I was into mentalism for a decade or so, reading all the classic Animan texts. And he talks about using pinprick marks and tactile marks. And I just dismissed it. I thought, that's old hat. It's old 1930s. And borrow a gentleman's felt hat and all that sort of stuff. And it was ages before I got around to trying tactile marks. And they are fantastic. In fact, in this set of cards, I did another set of marks on the middle of a card. I think it's the trust card. So if you want to repeat, you can. Except instead of feeling for the marks down here, now I would feel for them here. So I can do a repeat. I know, don't repeat the same magic trick, but it's not a magic trick.
It's not.
So you can, depending on where you put the pinpricks, you can maybe mark up to 3 cards in the stack. And I've confined this to the second half of the deck, because the first half has marks for another thing, which we're going to come on to. So, yeah.
And I imagine you do that to somebody, and somebody else in the group is going to say, oh, could you? They want to experience what they've just seen, I would imagine. So having that trust card as well allows you to be able to,
Well, I'll share with you something that many people out there in Magic Land already know. If you're at a big corporate gig and you're doing close-up, and somebody else is there to read tarot cards, the tarot card reader will be busier than you. And once one person has had a good reading, he or she, and it is normally she, that's not being sexist, it just is, will go and say to other people, oh, you've got to come and see, you've got to have your cards on, I've just done mine, you've got to have mine. And then she'll tell someone else, and it's that chain reaction thing. And it's the same with this. People want to have the experience that they've seen somebody else experience, but they want to have it for themselves. This is why, again, it has to be about you and your feelings and emotions, because then other people don't want to just see it, they want to feel it and experience it. So being able to repeat something in this case isn't necessarily a bad thing. And of course, it's not just a revelation. You can use this as a prediction, because I know you're going to end up with the Wonder card or the Trust or whatever. So if you want to have a big reveal and a prediction, and it's sort of tattooed on your forearm or etched into a necklace around your face, whatever you want to do, you can do that.
Is there a particular, before we move on, is there a particular reason you went for Wonder and Trust? Is it easier to kind of not do a reading, but is it easier to have somebody imagine Wonder than something else? Or
as I say, I decided to just do it with the second half of the Evoke deck. First of all, I thought it would be nice to focus on something that's positive to because you want the routine to go in a positive direction. And I was looking through this great set of cards. They're all so beautiful. I was just looking for ones that I thought would give you the best odds most often of getting a cold reading hit. And I think Wonder and Trust kind of work as well as most of them. I wouldn't want to base all of that on yuck, which is just one of the feelings in here. Or quitting. It's just a bit too negative, and you don't really want to go there.
Yeah. Ian, absolutely brilliant. Okay, I have no idea what's coming up now, But these 4 cards, I've already kind of intrigued and interested about what we're doing here.
When Craig says no idea what's going to happen next, neither have I. We're just busking this, but it's based on an old idea. So, Craig, isn't it?
Yes.
Hi, nice to meet you.
I think.
How intuitive are you?
Ish.
Come on, really? Do you think you've got good intuition? Do you trust your instinct?
I do trust my instincts, yeah.
You're a businessman. Do you trust your business instincts?
100%.
Right. So I think even the skeptics and people say, oh, no, I'm very rational. I don't believe in that sort of thing. Actually, most of us believe in our intuitive skills and talents. And this is a little demonstration. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm just saying it's fun to try.
Okay.
Should we have a go?
Yeah, let's do it.
3 things that I think you'd agree you don't really want to feel. This is
Depressed.
and
Indecision.
not good for business.
No. And boredom.
And one thing which I think we all like to feel now and again.
Love, definitely.
Okay, right. Which is which?
I don't know.
No. I'm going to look away. You mix them up any way that you like.
Okay.
Okay. And then lay them out. And also you can do it as a line or a 4 in a square, whatever you want.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to do something that's going to sound weird and impossible and like, no way would that work. You don't know where that love card is.
No.
And the obvious way to find out, if you wanted to know, would be to turn them over and have a look.
Yeah.
Try this. Pick up the cards one at a time, as if you could read and sense and feel with your fingertips.
Okay.
Or you can just do the hand hovering over each one. All I ask is that you invite yourself to be successful. You trust your intuition to move towards the positive, towards the warmth of love. I know you've experienced love in your life, and see what happens. And I'm going to help you because I'm an observer, a very keen observer of human behavior and reactions. I'll help you.
Okay.
Have a go. Did you feel what happened?
I'm not sure.
You spent more time on these and your whole body language angled towards the center too.
Really?
A lot of people, I sometimes see them turn here or here. But for some reason, first of all, I'm going to express this. These intrigued your fingers more than these two. And I don't know why, because I don't know where it is either.
No.
And also you were inclining your body language towards the middle. I think you want to go here. Let's give it a go. You can try the hand hover. You can do the feeling again.
Okay.
Just, are you really doing this inside?
Yeah.
Trusting yourself to get this right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's important.
I am.
Have a go. Your face is very eloquent, my friend.
Really?
Your facial expression changed when your hand was here. Your actual facial expression changed.
Really?
You know how your facial expression changes if you're due to meet a whole bunch of people and you see one person you really like or love.
Yes.
Right? Your face changed. It was a micro expression, but it was there.
Wow.
And you were doing this. I don't know how. And it was when you came here.
Okay.
I don't know the answer either, but for some reason, your intuition and instincts have led you here. So, I'd say that's a win for you.
That's great. That's amazing.
Congratulations. Well done.
Well,
Yeah.
I love that presentation. I love that you're leading. It's almost like equivocate, but it's not.
You can do it by equivocating.
But that was better. Like that was great.
I brought out a thing years and years ago called Sense of Touch, which was one of the most pirated and copied manuscripts in history.
Oh wow!
And this routine grew out of that. So it's purely an improvised talking routine. You've got the marks again. In this case, I've marked the love card. So when they come back, and I'm saying, just pick them up one at a time and pretend that your fingers get. Obviously, I now know where it is. So I've got that information, and the rest is just talking and pretending to observe things about you, your rate of breathing, how much you spend on each card, your body language, your facial expression, just pretending.
But
That leads you to a certain way.
But what made it so good is, even me doing this with you now, it didn't feel like you were pretending. It felt like you were using these skills that you developed to see exactly how I was reacting to different
But this is the beautiful thing that I want to share with you, my friend. Nobody ever does doubt it, because everybody wants to give themselves credit. You see, you're setting up this narrative where they get a special power out of this, a superpower. You've got great intuition, you've got great instincts, etc. And nobody's going to want to push that away, because you're praising them. You're saying you've got, especially, no, I won't say that, but you've got this ability, and the people want to have the ability rather than not have it.
Yeah.
So they don't push back. And I've literally done this hundreds, perhaps, I don't know, thousands of times all over the world. And people want the superpowers. And when you're crediting them with this intuitive and instinctive gift, they all believe it. They all accept it.
That's incredible. Yeah, because you're literally just telling me where the card is, but without actually, like...
But you're the star.
But yeah, but I'm left with the feeling that it was me that worked out where it was.
Yes. Yeah. And you can do it with 4, you can do it with 5, 6. I generally use 4. I think it's enough. But if you think you want to make it out of 5 or 6 cards, you can.
And you could have them take out, if you didn't want to use the pinprick method and you wanted to go with the actual markings.
Oh yeah.
You could have them take out the positive emotion that they relate to.
Yep.
And then maybe take out 3 negative emotions that they never want to feel, and do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, I just use the tactile because it means I can spend less time kind of guiltily looking at the back designs. But the back designs are beautiful. Again, kudos to Phil Smith for this incredible secret, this incredible method. But it's a way of making the participant feel that they have this incredible intuitive gift. It's easy to do, but it's lovely to present. It's lovely to talk through.
It's amazing. I love that. That's probably my favorite that you've shared so far.
Good.
So, Ian, you have an effect that's very, 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 very simple, but incredibly powerful at the same time. Can we talk through that?
This is one of my favorite divination routines, and yes, it's bog standard simple. It's very Royal Road Chapter 1, but for that reason, some people might dismiss it. We're going to talk about it, first of all, very quickly with regular cards, and then we'll immediately see the application to the wonderful Evoke deck.
Okay.
So you're a lay person. I'm hanging out with you at a party or something, and I say, I'll tell you what, give the cards a little bit of a mix first. You can check them out if you want to, and we'll see how good you are at sending thoughts.
Okay.
Ethically. I don't know if you believe in ESP and all that. So you gave these a good shuffle.
Yeah.
You've got highs,
Yeah.
you've got lots of choices.
Yeah.
I'm going to look away, and you just say stop whenever you like.
Stop.
Okay. So can you remember that card for me?
Yep, got it.
Will you remember if you see it?
I will remember it, definitely.
Okay. Right. Here's the thing. You know what that card is. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to try to be someone who can telepathically send it to me.
Okay.
Now, there are 3 basic ways of doing this, 3 modalities, if you like big words. You could actually see it as a picture, like, the Ace of Spades as an image.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could, in your mind's ear, imagine the sound it would make if you spoke it out loud to me, the Ace of Spades as an audio. Or you could see it like it would appear if it was just printed text on a page,
okay.
Words. And I'm kind of a words guy. Try the first. I'm not a visual thinker, so this probably might work. Will you have a go for me?
Yeah.
Don't try to make this go wrong. Try to make it go right.
Okay.
And send to me the image I'm looking for.
Okay.
I'm going to have a go, even though I'm really not sure this is going to work. Okay. Try a different mode. I'm going to save the last one to last because I am a word kind of person. I like semantic data. I deal with words. I'm a writer. Try the second one. Try sending it to me telepathically or mentally as if it was, I was hearing it.
Okay.
Your mind's voice. But just a little better. I'm talking about my ability to pick it up. That you're doing fine. Okay, I want to go sort of here-ish. And now try the third modality. What it would look like on a printed page, or if you were just talking about the actual words and showing it to me as written text. Yeah. You're good at this. I think. I hope. All right, let's try it. Here's where we are. We went on a little journey together. Was that fun for you?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Do you think it's worked?
I don't know. I like to believe it has, but...
This was what I got first of all. I'm not saying I think this is the card you're thinking of or the card you looked at. I think you'll tell me this was, in fact, way off, like a mile away.
Yeah, nowhere near.
Nowhere near.
Nowhere near.
That's what I thought you'd say. Then we tried the second, and I began to get something quite clear from you. But I couldn't, it's like something I couldn't bring into focus, you know? Again, I'm not saying this is yours. I'm saying, but I think you'll tell me it's closer. Is that nearer?
Yes.
Along the right line?
Yeah, definitely a lot nearer.
Okay. Right hand. When you did the third one, and I'm a words kind of guy, words are my thing. I think it worked a lot better. What was the card you thought of in the first place?
Three of Hearts.
You're so good. You're so good.
Three of Diamonds, sorry. Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, Three of Diamonds. That's the one. I was just listening to everything you were saying and taking it in. That's really great.
Right. Okay, let's talk about this.
That's super simple, but, you know, and I know there's going to be people that are going to be watching this, and they're going to overlook that and go, oh, this is too simple for me.
But, as a friend of mine put it, not listening already. You know,
but as a participant, as the person that was experiencing that, again, and this is the thing that comes from you every single time I see you do something, I'm just believing in this 100%. Like, it's not a card trick. It's not, you know, like sometimes when magicians go to perform and they have the spectator say, I think I know how that's done. Right. And it comes across as a bit challenging.
Yeah, solve the puzzle.
That's never going to happen with you, because it's not. It's a totally different experience as the person experiencing it.
The point here is not the method, which is just a key card. I mean, do we even need to go through it? So I say, oh, look, you really shuffled them very well. And I clock the bottom card, the Nine of Spades. So then when I do my cack-handed mentalist, no experience handling cards thing, I say stop. They say stop. I put it here. I say, can you remember that card for me? Two of Spades. And then I put this on top. So now my key card is on top. And at the moment, I don't know what it is. But as soon as I pick up the deck for my first attempt, I look through. And now I know exactly what it is. So I can choose a first card that's nothing like this.
Yeah.
A second card that's closer, same color, within one or two in terms of value. And the third time, I can nail it. So that's all it is in terms of method. You have a much better, more professional way of doing the key card.
Well, I mean, you could, once you've got your key card at the bottom, you could have somebody take a card, in this case, the Queen of Spades, and you could just do small running cuts to the table and have them say stop. And when they say stop, put the card there, put these on top, and it
amateur, professional, amateur,
it's the same thing.
But that's not the point. The method is so important here. It's the narrative structure, it's the story, it's the journey you go on, talking about the three modalities that they try. Everybody goes for it.
Yep.
And one of the reasons why I think it comes across okay is because I'm not acting. I genuinely have very little visual memory or mind. I don't have the same mental cinema screen as other people. It's called aphantasia, if you want to look it up. I am a words person. Semantic data is everything to me. So I'm kind of telling the truth. And you take the spectator on that journey, 3 phases, got the rule of 3, and it's a nice dramatic structure. And they've never seen magician do something that ends like this. I'm not saying this. In fact, I think you'll tell me this is way off, and it is, and that's kind of funny. And then this is actually a little bit closer. Oh, where's this going? And then, of course, it's in their own hands, and you finish it. Now, with these, the Evoke deck is the same thing. You can have because you can, your first one is obviously an emotion that's nothing whatsoever to do with the one they're thinking of. The second one is closer in sense and in feeling, but not quite the same. And then the third one is absolutely accurate.
Would you have them, if you were doing it with the Evoke deck, would you have them go through and look through them and pick an emotion that they resonate with? Or would you have them pick one and apparently random? Which way?
And I'd just do the same handling post.
So you'd have them take one out and so you've got your key card there, kindness, and that would go back. Yeah.
I'd use the same approach. Professionals such as yourself might have more subtle, brilliant ways. But then once you're going, you've got exactly the same narrative, exactly the same journey, exactly the same story. First of all, I would pick an emotion that's nothing whatsoever to do with it. Then one that's related and close, but not quite the same. And then the third one would be dead on.
That would be so strong.
So much more. Because, again, it's just...
And the nice thing about the Evoke deck is there are cards in there that are similar, like you think merry and love and joy. A lot of the positive emotions have, they are related in some ways, but you also have emotions there that are completely opposite.
I went through it last night for a couple of hours, ticking out different permutations for this and for another thing that we're going to come on to. And there's always a way to make it work. Always a way to make it work. And it's just a lot of fun to do. I know it's methodologically, I managed to say it. That's only take 27 of that. Simple, but from a spectator's point of view, that's not the point. It's that journey, that 1, 2, 3 journey. The narrative structure is what really kicks like a mule, and people enjoy this. That's the main thing. People enjoy it.
And that's the thing, when the method is so simple, it allows you to focus completely on presentation.
Yeah, that's true. It is simple to do. And there's just this thing that they've not seen a magician or a mentalist do before, of saying, I'm not saying this is your one. In fact, I think you'll tell me I got this completely wrong. They'd like that. That's kind of funny. It's like seeing somebody admit a massive failure, a catastrophic, no, this didn't work at all. And they'd like agreeing. Say, yep, you're absolutely right. There's nowhere near. They'd love, whether you're doing it with normal cards or tarot or these, they'd like that moment. And they haven't really seen that before. Anyway, so that's your 3-phase revelation. I've tested it all over the world for decades, and it's good.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's such a great routine. So, like I said earlier on, this has been put together very, very quickly.
Oh, do you think?
Yeah, like in seconds. I don't think Ian's ever actually performed this with the Evoke deck before, so it's going to be very interesting, but I'm very excited.
Fascinating for both of us.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you want to watch the first time something's ever been performed with this deck, let's go. So basically, I would just hand you the cards.
Okay.
And I would say, you could look through them and familiarize yourself with it if we haven't already done this. But then with the cards face down, choose 3 of them at random. And the pattern is something like
shuffle,
this.
or we'll just...
Shuffle if you want. Do you know, we all have a richer emotional life than we realize. And there's an amazing thing I've been reading about to do with human feelings and emotion and the way we react to things that I didn't know before. I didn't realize how connected our different feelings and experiences in life really are. There's a lot of research that's been done into this, and it's quite fascinating. I'd like to share something with you. Let's have a go. Let's try this. It might not work, but it's great when it does. From these, choose any 3 at random. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. Any 3 at all. You don't need to know what they are. I don't want to know what they are. That's number 1, okay? But this is to do with the connectivity between feelings and emotions. Have you ever heard about any of this?
No, never.
Yeah, it's kind of strange the way it works. All right. We're going to look at these 2.
Okay.
And neither of us have any idea what this is going to be.
No.
So the first one says, it's quite a negative one. Hateful. Very nice. And rage. Okay. I'm not going to say this tells us anything about your personality, Craig. Popular Craig Petty off the internet. Now, there is something called sine wave theory, which goes like this, that the human frame, the human spirit can't sustain the same feelings infinitely forever. I genuinely did work on a book project once with the kind of guy who, you know, those hostage negotiators situations you see in the movies. He did this in real life. And he said that when people are in that high panic, tense state, he's a bad guy, he's got hostages, he's got the police, and it's very high adrenaline. He says no human being can sustain that forever. You can get about 20 minutes max. After that, you'd pass out. So you have to calm down and that's what they're waiting for. They buy time and wait for that person to go into a more stable state. And that's when you can negotiate with them. It's kind of interesting.
Ooh.
And likewise with these, they are so far over one end of the spectrum, because there's lots of different feelings represented here, that if this theory is right, this one should be a kind of a turn, like a sine wave, a turn in the other direction, towards the other end. Something to do, I don't know, with joy or fun or love. And we've got hate and rage. Rage is that takes us away from the love thing, where you're not feeling rage, you're feeling kind of laid back, happy, like you and I having too many pints at a convention again, stuff like that. Not that he drinks, just in case his wife and family are watching. Mr. Sober, yeah. But what should happen is that this will just follow the pattern of being at the opposite end of the spectrum. It'll be something positive. It'll be something to do with happy and fun and relaxed, feeling joyful. Not so much the loving thing, but having a good time, that sort of thing. Being in a good mood, feeling happy, feeling merry, having a good time, sociable, that sort of thing. If this theory works.
Okay.
Why don't you have a look?
Merry.
I'm still reading about this. I'm learning about this, but the more you get into it and the more you try it, there is this underlying connection. It's like a network, a web of the way that human feelings and emotions and experiences are interlinked. And I'm finding it fascinating.
Wow. That's amazing.
Okay.
Are you literally just blagging it? Are you literally just...
A bit about working on a book with the guy who did the hostage negotiator. That's true. Because I'm a ghostwriter, and that's one of the books I worked on ages ago. So, everybody's familiar. The great Tommy Burnett did a lecture at the Circle featuring this. The improvised addition trick where somebody deals out 3 cards, and whether this is controlled or marked or whatever, you know what the value of this is. In this case, a 2, and you find a way of getting from these to this, and you just improvise it. You busk it a little. We're going into the territory of divergence trick that cannot be explained, because you're improvising it and busking it, and you say, well, that's kind of interesting. You've got a 6. You know that all the cards in the deck are interrelated, and you can do mathematical wonders with them. And if this is a 6 and this is a 5, that's a descending sequence, so this should be a lower number. 6 minus 5 is 1, but this is probably not an ace, because people don't just cut to aces naturally. So I would go with something like a 2. And say, oh my goodness, it's a 2. And whichever cards come up, you can improvise your way to a successful solution.
Yeah.
And when it's presented well, Tommy Burnett obviously does it brilliantly, but so do a few other people I've seen. It's really quite convincing. However, with these, you can do emotional intelligence. You can do an addition sum with feelings and emotions. And I think this is you. I've not come across this before.
I've never seen anything like this before.
Now, obviously, because of the technology built into these beautiful, wonderful cards, you know what the third one's going to be. So
Yeah, like Wonder immediately. I see it there, Wonder.
Okay. Well, we've talked about Wonder already.
Yeah.
So
Perfect. So trust.
okay. So we're going to put Craig on the spot now. He had no idea I'm going to say this. Why don't you have a busk?
Oh my God. Right. Okay. So I know this is trust.
So we know that where we're going to, and we've dealt with. This is a tough one. Good. I'm going to sit back now and watch Craig work.
Okay. So obviously we've got
xenophobia and indecision.
So obviously we've got xenophobia there, which is a very negative, kind of almost like hateful emotion. You know, you hate a particular thing or a particular person, and sometimes you can question yourself when you hate something so powerfully. You can question yourself, and that leads to indecision. Am I right in hating this person or hating this group of people so much? And eventually, you know, it will follow a pattern that you start doubting yourself, and you realize being xenophobic is not the right way to be. So you end up starting to try to be more positive and start to try and let people in a little bit more, maybe be a little bit more trusting. And if that works out, then this should be trust.
Hey.
That was rubbish, but
it is so much fun to.
But I this is the sort of thing that I would love to do, because I like thinking on my feet. I like doing that sort of thing. And this is a fairly easy one, I would imagine, because you've got love, confidence, and joy.
Yeah.
So that would kind of...
That's not too difficult to busk about. You see, you can... Do you ever sit at home and play with yourself?
All the time.
Play by yourself, I should have said. You can practice so easily just by, setting up a set of 3 random cards and just thinking, how would I talk about this to a spectator? To say why there's a pattern here, why the emotions are connected, the human experience is connected, and if this theory is right, blah, 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 there should be...
sincerity.
And, it is. So you can just have fun busking your way through, and you're doing an addition sum, but with feelings and emotions, and it is more fun than a bath full of ferrets to try.
I love everything that you've shared, but this is something that I'm going to start doing immediately, because I love, we're not going to get into this now, but I've spoke to so many magicians in the community that worry about falling out of love with magic. And, I just go through the motions. I do the same things over and over again. And one thing I've always tried to do is challenge myself when I'm performing. And,
like doing the gig sober, for example.
Like doing a gig. It's a hard thing to do, but I try occasionally. But this is thinking on your feet. This is great. This reminds me of jazzing with a mem deck. You've got a mem deck, you have someone name a card, and you got to figure out how to get there. Yeah. This is that same sort of thing.
The same sort of thing. It's great fun, and also relates to some of the stuff that I teach with cold reading, because my cold reading systems are based on improvisation, not memorization. So they're always going to sound fresh, because it won't sound like you're delivering stock lines, because you never are. It's all being minted fresh, and it's not something everybody has the knack for, but most people can do it. And this is another completely improvised thing, which is to say you can practice at home just by doing 1, 2, and 3 and thinking, how would I get from these two? And then, have the confidence to go out and try it with real people and think, oh God, how am I going to get from these two to whatever I know this one is? But you'll get there. You're talking about the interconnectivity of human feelings, human emotions, human experience, and you can make up whatever research you want. You can make up any research you want. Nobody's going to check. And make it sound plausible. And if this theory is right, there should be, and then whatever it is, and have fun with it.
That's perfect. I love that. So I'm going to go on record here as saying that you're a genius, because you talked me through this over Zoom. And how you
bringing on the ego show?
How you managed to put this together in literally 48 hours? I don't know. This is another one that Ian's never performed. It's a concept that he's going to perform for the first time. But when you realise the work he's had to put into to get to the point that it's ready to perform for you, you'll realise that he is absolutely a genius.
I don't think we need to actually do the thing now. I think we can just cut there. I'm happy. I've got what I needed. Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
It's true. I wouldn't... You could have put me in a room for a decade and told me to do something like... I haven't got the ability to do what you've prepped in order to...
Please, everyone, lower your expectations. I cannot live up to
this. Is the one that I was talking about at the beginning that I absolutely love.
Hi, it's Craig, isn't it?
It is indeed, yeah.
Hi, my name is Ian. Should we try some of this mind stuff that I'm known for? You're up for it?
I'm definitely up for it.
I'd like to have a look at these. They represent different feelings and emotions, and there's some nice images and pictures associated with them, outrage and feeling ecstatic, and just have a look at them. There's some nice pictures. And if you don't mind, you may be wondering why I always carry this around in the box with these cards. This is one of my favorite bits of verse. I don't know if you're into poetry verse. Most people aren't. You can carry on looking at them. This is just something that's always... I first came across this in my teens, and I just, if you don't mind, I'd like to share it with you. It's a piece of classic poetry from the 19th century. I'll just go through it quickly. Sometimes each heart may find a sadder pace, suffused with tears and in regrets attired, experiencing of joy no faintest trace, night bringing on few hopes or paths inspired. It's sad, isn't it? Despair not, for in choosing to explore new dreams, new trust, we celebrate this notion. In every life, hope's light shines from the core. Know this, and let love be your choice emotion. Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Lord Byron, it's called Hope's Light. And it's always struck with me. It's always stayed with me. And that's why I carry this around in the same box with these. Have you had a look at these?
Yeah. They're all good, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So these are just a couple of marker cards. And what I'd like you to do is I'm going to do this and go through them one at a time. Whenever you like, just put one of those marker cards into the deal. Okay?
Okay, yeah, sure.
So here we go. There? Or there?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Let's do it again. Do it when something tells you it's the right time to do it.
Okay.
When you feel something inside.
Okay, we can do that. Now.
Okay. I'm just going to take out the 2 cards just next to the ones you marked, like these. But you really had no idea why you put those into the deal when you did, do you?
No.
You have no idea what we've ended up with. And neither have I. And I'm wondering if they'll even mean anything to you. Just before we get to that, just do me one last favor. You had all this... When you did it the first time, roughly how far down did we get before you sort of...
Around about that area.
I agree with you. It's around about there. And see, you've got lots of choices here, Zest and Mary and the rest. And when we did it the second half of the deck, roughly how far...
Probably about there.
It's about the same, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were fairly consistent. And you got Xenophobia and this. You've got lots of different...
Yeah.
But I wonder which 2 you ended up on.
I don't know.
Let's have a look. You can turn them over.
Kindness
That's good.
and patience.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Those are nice feelings. Yeah. But why did you put those in at that particular time?
I don't know. I just felt that was the right time to put them in.
I'll share with you why it happened,
Okay.
and you will not believe it.
Okay.
You honestly will not believe it.
Really?
Did you choose those of your own free will?
Yes, completely of my own free will.
No, sorry. Because you'd already seen this and you'd already heard it.
Right.
What happens if you take the first letter of each line and read upwards?
Kindness. Kindness.
It's right there in black and white.
That's incredible.
Hold on to your horses.
Really?
What happens if you look at the last word in each line and just take the first letter of the last word in each line? Pace.
Patience.
I don't know why it works. You don't know why it works. But when you're talking about human feelings and emotion, it's weird stuff.
That's amazing.
You did it. I don't know how you did it, but you did it.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. I love that. I love that. And the reaction that you're going to get from that, it's impossible. It's almost like, you know what this reminds me a little of? When you watch a film and there's something that happens towards the end that completely changes the twist, like Sixth Sense or something like that, where you have that moment at the end where everything's just changed in a heartbeat. That's what you have here.
Yeah. And again, you can... So this is just the double stop force that we all know and we stopped using years ago because we think it's... the 2 force cards on the top and the bottom, patience and kindness. It doesn't matter which order they're in. They've got 2 ways of indicating or marking a card, blah, 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 stop whatever you like.
What's happening is when you put those on top, the bottom card is going next to the marker card, but the other card that was on top is now on the bottom.
Yeah, and then again...
Stop. So now that card's going there.
And then when you spread, you don't say, I'll take out the cards above the marker cards. You say next to. And that's the double stop force.
They're always going to end up
with Carl Falls.
Yes.
Very versatile. I've added one little twist, which is this final convincer.
I love that. When I saw you do that, I was like, that's really nice.
Where you say, now, the first time we did it, roughly how far down did we get before you said start? They point to something and say, oh, no. So you could have, one before or one after, it would have been slightly different. You got rage, and you're explaining all the variety. And in the second half, this makes no sense at all because it's not what happened, but they go with it. In the second half, how far down did we get?
Around about there.
And again, they can see it's such a psychological convincer. It really locks in a completely false narrative, which means there's no way to backtrack. Absolutely no. Just for the puzzle solvers and the challenges,
Yeah.
So that's a little addition, but it's just the classic double stop force. And so you're able to force 2 cards, or 2 feelings, we should say, which brings us to this. Full credit to Stuart James. He was the first person I came across using this idea of a prediction in full view, where you've got this is called an acrostic or acrostic, depending where you want to put the emphasis. Bit of verse, now, I wrote this.
I was about to say, you wrote it in like one night. Like,
I've got a weird check break. Nothing to do with Lord Byron. You're going to have to adapt this to your own society and culture. Had you heard of Lord Byron as a poet?
yes.
Do you know anything about him or his work?
No.
This is what I was going for. Most people won't. Most people, here we are, we're in London, we're in England, it's 2024. The majority of people will know that this was some sort of classical poet, but they won't know anything about
That is basically all I know. I know it's a classical poet. Beyond that, no idea.
So wherever you are in the world watching and listening to this, just adapt it. That's what you want. A name that people think, oh yeah, I've heard of that guy or that woman or that writer, but they probably won't know anything about their work. And then you lie. Remember my classic definition of mentalism, acting, lying, and enjoying it. You lie and you do the sentimental bit if you can sell it. Say, when I carry these around and they're all celebrating so much emotions, it takes me back to a piece of verse I saw in my younger years. It's always stayed with me. Whenever I share it, there's only 8 lies in it, and it is not bad poetry.
No.
It's okay. It passes, and it's about going from sadness to love, and it's all quite nice. And anyway, you just leave that there, and then you get into the double stop force, and you end up with these 2 cards, and it feels like a free choice.
But this is, again, an example of what you were talking about at the very beginning, which is you're not doing anything. They're doing everything themselves. They're deciding where the marker card should be. Mm-hmm. So they're deciding which the cards are that they're choosing. They've read the verse at the beginning.
Yeah.
You've literally done nothing. You don't have that ta-da moment because it's not about you. It's about them.
And if you do perform this, there's that sweet spot in the middle where you say, do you know why you ended up with these 2? And they'll say no. Don't race to the climax here. I know why, but you won't believe it. And let that hang in the air. Take some time over this. It's worth it. It's worth every heartbeat. And you're going to look at me intrigued and say, where are you going with this, Walter? I know why it happened. I know why you ended up here, but you won't. Even when I tell you, you won't believe it. And now they really want to know. Don't give in too quickly. Tease them. Let them hang there in the air. I promise no one ever believes this. But there was a reason, and it happened for a reason, and you'll love it. It's beautiful, but you won't believe it. What is it? So then you go back to this, which they don't think was anything to do with the actual, what we would call the trick or the effect. And then you point out the 2 reveals. And again, there's a sweet spot. Even when they've seen this one, they don't realize there's going to be a second one. They don't think that's even possible. How could you write 8 lies of verse to conceal 2 acrostics in one? So whilst they've seen the kindness, so they go, that's a spooky moment, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a very spooky moment, because now they're trying to figure out how could this lying here possibly affect their choices. And then when you point out the other hidden message as well,
which also is, so even if they leap to the conclusion that that's going to be there, it's not, because they're going to look at the last letters and it's not. And it's only again when you point it out, because it's going in the opposite direction. And that's just genius.
So that's, as I say, it goes all the way back to Stuart James. I've played with the notion of predictions or reveals in full view, hidden messages across things for decades, literally decades. And it's one of my favorite things to do. And I just have, I'm not the genius that you say I am, but I do have a weirdly shaped brain, so I can churn out stuff like this when I need to.
It's So strong.
And it was fun to make up. I actually think it's not a bad bit of verse. I think it passes muster, because it has to be just this side of plausible. You know, it can't just be doggerel. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So, yeah, that was fun to write out for you. And then I sort of shared it with you last night. So you got...
Yeah. It's just great. I could see doing this and then not being able to kind of do anything else with these, because that's just...
And by the way, I mean, we are busting this at very short notice. This can be presented in any way. It can be done quite nicely. You could have it printed on a similar size card. You could have it in a little locket. You could have it on a screen if you're doing whatever the situation is. It could actually be inside a Valentine's card or something. I mean, there's lots of ways of smuggling this in. I just printed it on a piece of parchment paper, but that's all I had last night. There's lots of ways of smuggling this into the presentation and making it look as if it's nothing to do with what we do over here, which is the sweet spot.
Yep.
And then you get to that, leave them hanging in the air. There is a reason why it happened, but you won't believe it. Seriously, it happened for a reason.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what it is, but you won't believe it ever.
And they won't believe it. They won't believe it.
And they're locked in. There's absolutely no way to backtrack that.
Yeah.
Even if you are with the challengers and the puzzle solvers and the skeptics. There's no way for...
And again, the way that you present this, which is the way you present everything, you're not going to have people wanting to solve a puzzle because it's not being presented as a puzzle. Yeah, that's great. Really great.
It just worked. I mean, you can do the double stop force with a regular deck, but with these, I mean, it's just so richer, more beautiful, more engaging, more of a connection with the spectator, the participant. This adds a million points to it.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Ian, every word that I've said is true. You're a genius. You're an amazing friend. And I don't know many people who would see this for the first time and within a couple of days put all of this together.
No, this has just been fun. Thanks for inviting me to be part of it. You've been a great friend over the years as well. You know you have. And when you showed this with me, I thought, I want in on it. Not financially, I mean, that would be nice, but I'm not getting anything for this. I'm genuinely enthusiastic about this and the possibilities.
Yeah.
It's just fun to do. And we had fun talking about hatching ideas on Zoom. It was like back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Nemid was behind the camera earlier on, and he's seen so much magic and so much mentalism, and he's helped put this whole project together. And he just turned around and said, right, out of everything on the Evoke project, this is my favorite section. So,
it's very kind. It's great to be part of. I really believe in this. I think it's a great product. And thanks for inviting me along.
I know you've got your books with you, and I know you were very passionate about not plugging them, but I think that having listened to you, there's going to be people that are going to be wanting to know more about your work and also wanting to know more about maybe cold reading and more about your philosophy on magic and mentalism. Can we...
Astonishingly, surprisingly, I've got my 3 books on cold reading.
Let's talk about them.
Yeah. So, this is the one that started it all, the Full Facts Book of Cold Reading, which explains how cold reading works in the psychic industry. It doesn't actually teach you a system. It's not meant to. It's just a descriptive book, but that's kind of... if I'm known for anything, which is by no means a safe assumption, I'm known for that. Super Psychic Readings actually teaches the system I use and have used all the way around the world to give any kind of reading you want, tarot, palm, astrology, whatever, to anyone, anytime, any place, anywhere. It teaches you the system. And then for the business people, cold reading for business. You can transplant some of the principles of cold reading to business context, nothing to do with fortune telling, nothing to do with psychic. But it's very good for...
I know you get booked by a lot of corporates and...
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I mean...
And that's what... So there they are. If anybody's interested, they're on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and type my name in. They're great. I had great fun writing them, and if anybody's interested, they're there.
That's amazing. I will be honest, I have never read your books. Despite being friends for years, I've never read them. And I'm jumping on Amazon tonight. No, seriously, because... I've never really studied cold reading, and just genuinely, I'm not just saying this.
That's the one.
Sitting down with you, that one there.
That's the one. That teaches the whole system.
Sitting down with you and just, it's made me realise that I need to know more about this because I'm woefully ignorant.
Bill Larson once said, if you've got cold reading, you don't really need anything else. And we hear all the young guys today talk about EDC, everyday carry. This is something you carry out of your head. Both big fans of propless mentalism. This is the ultimate propless mentalism, because if you're just reading a palm or somebody's sample of handwriting, you don't need to have tarot cards with you. I love cold reading. I've done it all over the world, thousands and thousands of times. I've had lots of fun and joy, and you bring these smiles to these people. I don't charge money. It's not about the money. It's a great way to connect with people, create smiles and love and laughter, and leave people feeling better about themselves at the end than they did at the start, which is kind of crucial, the whole point. So anybody wants them, they're on Amazon, but you don't have to buy them. And there we go.
Ian, thank you so much. And I want to say, Ian didn't even mention wanting to plug his books. He's on this project because he really believes in Evoke, but I saw them over there, and I really want people to know, where they can find out more about you. But Ian, seriously, one more time, my friend, thank you so much. The project has just been taken to an entire other level because of you being on it. Thank you so much.
Great to be part of it.